Hello, I'm Joel.
And I'm Alex. Welcome to the Commander's Journey.
The place where we discuss our favorite format of Magic, Commander, from the perspective of a new player.
And an experienced one.
And this journey is for new Magic players who are interested in Commander.
So, I got an interesting work story for you, Joel.
Mm-hmm.
I was basically... I was an op for a room, which, for those of you who don't know, that's for these talks. We basically do large corporate shows, me and Joel. And one of the things that we sometimes do is we op a room, which is you are in charge of the video for that room, the audio. You sit in the room. You're there if anything goes wrong. You know, you hand them the microphones or mic them up, and then sometimes, too, you might be clicking through their video, that kind of thing, or switching for them. Mm-hmm. But for this show, the first time that's ever happened to me, and I felt so terrible, I had two different talks where no one showed up for the person's talk.
So you felt bad for the speaker.
I felt so bad for the speaker. I was horrified. And one of them I saw coming right before it happened. The person comes in, the gentleman, he basically is noticing he's not on the schedule for the show, not on any of the signs. And the only confirmation we even had that he was supposed to be there was that he had it written down in an email. So I guess not really down, but he had an email that said he was going to perform his talk at this time at my location.
But he wasn't on any of this
None.
information at the conference at all.
And so you knew it was going to be a problem beforehand. Yeah. No one knew he was there. And I felt so bad. And when we talked for a little bit, instead of him doing the talk, he had some buddies of his come in. And he talked with them. So it wasn't completely bad. But God, I felt so devastated.
What about the other one?
So the other one was a very, very lovely woman. And this one turned out slightly better. So what ended up happening for this one is this is like at the very tail end of the show. Most people have gone, taken flight back home.
I was thinking about that, yeah. Like at the end of shows, typically there'll be people that just bail.
Exactly. So you're already this was a less attended show, and even on the less attended show, less people are showing for the last session of the last day. Mm-hmm. And she was going to speak. We knew we were having issues. We were getting bodies even in the area where I was at. And then let alone she was going to speak. So she even joked with me, maybe no one will show up now. And of course, no one did.
That's not a fun thing to
joke about.
No,
it's not. And it was so bad. And again, she was really taking it very well. So I said, you know what? I know my levels are good. I don't really need to sit behind the board. You just talk to me. Give the talk to me. It was about... less specific stuff to the field and more of a general use thing. So something I could potentially use information-wise. And so I said, yeah, just give me the talk. And I got a happy ending to the story, Joel.
What's that?
As I started talking, the room we were in was a little more open, so people could see. And as she gave the talk to me and the other person who was a guest speaker she was going to have talk, more people started coming in about 10 minutes into the talk.
So the moral of the story is, if you sit in the audience, they will come.
Exactly.
They will come.
It was just one of those things. And eventually she had one of the more attended sessions by the end of it. But holy cow, was I sitting there at the start of when she's supposed to talk and no one was in the room. And I felt so bad that we were just like, give me the talk. You prepped for this. You worked really hard on this.
You put some good karma in that room and it just, like a magnet, attracted all those people.
I want a story with a happy ending. I felt from this last work
Happily
week.
ever after. Isn't that a card?
Yes, it is. yes. In fact, it is. Boy, I never thought I'd say that.
There you go.
Or you'd say that, or anyone would say that in Magic in the slightest.
Oh, yeah. Happily ever after?
Exactly.
Well,
an ending to the story. The moral of the story is, again, if you just start talking, people will show up.
There you go. If you sit in the audience, they will come.
If we make a podcast and just keep on releasing episodes, eventually someone will listen.
Eventually somebody will listen. And eventually somebody will appreciate what we're trying. Anyway.
Oh, God.
Well,
that was an intended tangent at the end there.
Of course. This whole thing is a tangent. We're here for new players. We're here for Magic players. We're here for Commander players. We're completely stoked. And if you listen, more will listen, right?
Exactly.
Yes. So, yes. Yes is the answer. Well, today, getting into our topic, we want to talk about the top 5 budget green ramp spells. Now, a few weeks ago, we did the top 5 blue card draw spells. But we're talking about budget ones as well, so people understand that and know there's a lot of cards that are more pricey that'll help you ramp your decks in green and in other colors. But we want to talk about ones that are about $2 or less, kind of in that range, and ones you can just add to your decks you're going to need and are really good ramp spells for a budget price.
And what I want to point out as well is that, there are, again, more expensive options, but unlike the blue card draw one, unlike other ones we might get into, what's nice about green ramp is a lot of the ideal ones are the ones that come to mind first for players are already in budget. They're commons, there's things that have been printed a lot. They don't get too wild in price, and, they are still very, very good.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this, and there's 2, 3. The majority of them, like I already have in my decks, and they put in a lot of the precons. They're real staple type of ramp spells, but they're great because they also don't hurt your pocketbook.
Exactly, they're one of those ones that really just keep it in place. So I guess we can start with number 5.
Let's start with number 5. You go ahead. You start with number 5.
Okay, the number 5 card we chose was Farseek. It's 1 in a green for a sorcery. Search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or a mountain card and put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So I think the real appeal of this one, you might go like, isn't Rampant Growth better? Isn't, some other 2 mana ramp spells better? Why I think Farseek is so great is the fact that you don't have to get a basic of either of those lands. You just have to get something that has it in the type line. So it could be any plane, so any of dual lands that have those types, any one of those cards you can search for. So you can really get multiple colors that you're missing. If you notice, you can't get green because you already have it, of course, at this point. But any pain lands, anything that just has that type in, you will have it.
So you could go search for so you don't just have to search for the card where it says plains, island, swamp, or mountain card. So this is something I didn't get at the beginning, so it's good for new players to hear this, because a lot of these will say go get a basic land or go get a land. But because it says search your library for plains, island, swamp, or mountain, you could go get a card like, say, Breeding Pool, right? No.
Exactly. And Breeding Pool is a land that is a forest island that it can tap for either green or blue, but if it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 life. If you do, it enters untapped. Now, because of the effect, you have to enter it tapped no matter what. It doesn't give you that choice, but you can search this out, and this would give you both green and blue mana because it is an island. You can search it out.
Exactly. So it helps. So Farseek's a great card because so in that Breeding Pool it says land dash forest island. So because it says forest island on there, that's what makes it invaluable. And then it comes in. It comes in tapped anyways.
Exactly. So it's going to come in no matter what. No matter what, you don't really have that option that's listed on the card. But again, there are other cards that are, maybe you're playing a 3 or 4 or 5 color deck, and Farseek can give you 2 colors for the price of 1. Basically, the 2 colors that you're missing.
Yes.
Find a dual land that shares that color that you have in the deck, which honestly are more expensive. But you then have that option. You can search that out.
So it's searching out a card, but it also helps you fix and get more colors, more than just one color.
Exactly.
If you have that in your deck, you do want to in your commander decks have cards like Breeding Pool, cards that do have that text on it. Because of cards like Farseek that are under $2 that help you just go snag them up and ramp up real quick. And ramp up and fix up because you got to get those colors, especially if you want to cast your commander or you cast some cards.
And it's both.
It does both. So our number 4 is Explosive Vegetation for 3 and a green. It's a sorcery. It says search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library.
I'm going to be honest, Joel, just like in the blue card draw a podcast we did, I also love this card name, Explosive Vegetation. It's a great name.
Oh, I love the artwork on it. It does look like everything's just exploding.
It's like, I'm going to veggie it up so hard it's explosive.
Veggie it helps.
I don't know.
I don't think it has to do with vegetables.
No, I don't think it
it's
does.
more like the actual vegetation in the forest.
You're dead right, but I don't know.
And it's in green, so I was thinking of forests.
My brand of humor.
There you go. But these cards are great. And again, it is a little bit more mana than Farseek. It's not as good, but for 3 and a green, you could just go get 2 lands.
It's 2 basic lands, and the main thing is you put them on the battlefield. Usually with these effects, you may put one in your hand, one on the battlefield if you get 2, or some version of that. You put these onto the battlefield. They goes there, and again, it's flexible. You can get any basic land, multiple colors, do some color fixing, but again, onto the battlefield tapped.
Yeah, that's really powerful because, you on that turn, you've dropped the land already. Then you pay to get this card. You use this sorcery, you get 2 more. By the time the next turn comes around and you drop another land, that's like in 2 turns, you've gone up 4 lands rather than just 2 because of this one card. That's under $2.
Exactly. No, and Explosive Vegetation is very cheap, and it's, again, a good effect, especially if you're going with the big ramp. You're only going to big things. That's the card you want to use.
Exactly, which in Commander, we like to do a lot of that. We like to ramp it up.
Okay, our number 3 is Sky Shroud's Claim. It's also 3 and a green. It says search your library for up to 2 forest cards and put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So this has a couple key differences from the last ones. First of all, you can't get any basic land, but you can't get forest cards or anything that has forest in that type line. So like Farseek, any of those lands that have that in there. And the other thing is this one you can put into play untapped.
So if you have, and a lot of Commander decks do have green, and you're going to have some forests in there, you get 2 forests, just plop them on the field, and you can use them that turn. So even though you're paying 4, 3 and a green, you play that, you get your 2 green. It's almost like you just paid 2 because you got 2 more greens sitting out there to pay for something else.
Exactly, and especially if you're putting a little more money into your land base, this can be fixing. But most of the time, for us on the budget end, this is just going to be something for a 2-color deck or a monocolor deck that really just allows you to ramp up fast and hard. It's just powerful.
Even in like 3-color deck, like my Naya deck, like sometimes you need to go get that green, and you have a few forests out there too, so it could still be good in that deck. But you might not have as many forests if you've already played a bunch, and you got to beware of that. But the fact that they don't come in tapped is really powerful too.
That's the key
I
thing.
think. Yep. Sky Shroud Claim. Okay. Let's go to our number 2, and this is a popular card, a card they reprint. I think they just reprinted, right? New artwork.
Yes.
Yeah, in the C19. It's a Sakura Tribe Elder for 1 and a green. It's a creature, snake shaman. It says sacrifice Sakura Tribe Elder. Search your library for a basic land card. Put that card on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. And it's a 1/1. This is a really good card too. The fact that it's a 1/1. And you're going to be able to go get a card. So it's having a creature, and it's able to basically go through your library to get you something on the battlefield.
Oh, exactly. And a body is relevant, you know what I mean? Having a blocker out early can dissuade attacks. Having, just something that you can put in front. And again, you can block with it. And if it doesn't have trample, you can then sacrifice it. And go that route. So that way, you get your block out of it. You can get a couple extra swings with it and still sacrifice and get the effect. Or if they attempt to destroy it, do a board wipe, keep it while it's a body. And then when you need that land card in play, you can sacrifice it.
I was just thinking about it. I need to put this card. I don't know if it's in there. I need to put this in I'm building a Corvold deck right now. I need to put that in there because the sacrifice helps Corvold out. So that makes it even better for that deck. But yeah, having a 1/1 that also ramps you up. Like you said, chump block, use it for whatever, use it for the sacrifice outlet, or not outlet, but as sacrifice fodder. It's really good.
It gives you that flexibility, that's for sure. Okay, so then our number 1, and we cheated a little bit.
Here we go, cheating again.
And for those of you who maybe been playing Commander for a little bit, kind of have an idea of what we might be picking for our number 1 slot right here. It's kind of the go-to ramp spell when you think about ramp.
Yep, and the way we're cheating is there's 2 cards because the text is pretty much the same.
It's exactly
the same.
There is
the
the
mana cost
minorest of differences
exactly
between the difference.
But you can have 2 of them.
You can have both them
because they're
if
both
you
different.
Want. Exactly, and again, cheap, very good. I will do one, and you want to do the other?
Sure.
So I'll start with Cultivate. It's 2 and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards and put one onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand. Then shuffle your library. So unlike explosive vegetation, you put one in the hand and one into play, but again, that's 2 cards for 3 mana.
2 cards for 3 mana. That's not bad.
That's a powerful rate.
That's not bad
It's a very
at
good
all.
effect.
And because in Commander's Singleton, you can only have 1 copy of each card, you can add Kodama's Reach for 2 and a green, which is Sorcery Arcane, which says search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, and put one on the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand, then shuffle your library. I feel like we're
It
repeating
is
ourselves.
exactly the same. The only difference between the two is Kodama's Reach is an arcane spell, which is very minorly relevant to Splice onto Arcane, which was a mechanic from Kamigawa where the card came out.
Okay. Well, there you have it, though. That is our number 1, and it's for those few reasons. I mean, you're getting 2 land cards for the price of 3 mana. I mean, that's just really good rate, and the fact that you can basically have this card twice in your deck also, I think, makes it powerful.
An ideal opening turns for me in a green deck would be, play a thing, and then maybe I get a Soul Ring off it, and then on turn 2 playing a green mana, and then or something, and playing a Kodama's Reach, or maybe not even a Soul Ring, just like a mana rock of some sort, and just doing that. Holy cow, you are at like 6 mana turn 3. Like that is an ideal ramp start right there.
And that's why green's so good at that. And it's easy to do these budget episodes in these specific colors for these things, because this is what these colors do best. If you've noticed, blue does card draw the best, green does ramp the best, and you might, as a new player, be building a black and white deck or a red deck or some using a different color combination that doesn't have green, and you'll be struggling. Maybe we'll look at episodes later on and talk about that. But I've noticed a lot of commander decks will have green in it because a lot of the commanders will have green, the 3-color commanders and stuff, just because it's such a powerful color.
It's the easiest color to card fix with. It's the easiest color. It's definitely the easiest ramp spell color to ramp with. It's literally green is one of those things, especially for early commander players. I do recommend starting, unless you're really tied to one of the other colors, which is really okay too, but maybe starting if you're more on the fence and want colors with a green deck, just because you kind of see what the general idea of a commander deck is. You can do these big mana, big turn kind of things.
Mm-hmm. And then, you're going to need at least 5 to 10 of these different ramp spells, and these are 5, actually 6, really inexpensive ones to get into your deck. So even if you do feel like buying a few that are more expensive, add these to your decks anyways. And these are like you were saying earlier, these are staple. I see these like Farseek, Secure Tribe Elder, Cultivate. I see these in decks all the time.
Exactly. I see them all the time. We recommend 10 ramp spells in your deck. If you're playing green,
Yes.
you don't necessarily need to have all 5, or all 6. But I would be remiss if you didn't have at least 2 or 3 of these.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. If you're listening to us, this podcast, we really appreciate it. And we want to keep making good content for new Commander players. So if you can subscribe, hit us up on Twitter, check out our Patreon, and we'll look forward to you listening to us next week as well.
See you next time.